Welcome to the 2023 Chesapeake Oyster Science Symposium. My name is Tanner Council, and I manage the Chesapeake Oyster Alliance. I want to thank everybody here, everybody that's gathered here at the Hyatt Regency in Cambridge, to all of our registrants that are online from all over the world. I know that we've asked, and we're going to have a report on where people are tuning in from, but I know we have registrations from every coastal state in the United States. We have in several interior states and from at least 8 other countries. So we have people tuning in from all over the world because in many ways, oyster restoration and aquaculture began here in Chesapeake Bay and is one of the most studied bodies in the world, water bodies in the world. And it continues to be where the cutting edge of restoration, aquaculture, and research are happening. And that's what the Chesapeake Oyster Science Symposium is all about. We talk about this being, the intersection of restoration, aquaculture, and research. And the crowd that's gathered here today, the folks that you see on the agenda reflect that. We have people from all these different sectors, including the business sector, and also represented across different geographies. So I'm going to back up here. This is not my first slide. For those of you who are not familiar, who are outside of the region, the Chesapeake Oyster Alliance is a coalition of 103 partner organizations, again, from all over the Bay region, the Bay's watershed. And again, it's growers, it's nonprofits, it's academic institutions and businesses. We are again at 103 and growing. It's a powerful coalition, and I want to point out too just that broad coverage. So together with this sort of diverse representation that we have among the partners, we can be very effective, working together. And whether that's for something like promoting the innovation that we're going to talk about today and the research, or for policy purposes at the advocacy level. Primary objectives, I won't go through each one of these, but the kind of the headline goals, it's to collaborate, it's to work together, which is very well evidenced by the gathering of people that we have today, to innovate, which we'll talk a little bit more about, and to accelerate. So the name of the game is to continue the work that's being done now to promote that work, and then just pedal to the metal, because we have some very ambitious goals here in the Bay for the recovery of the Bay oyster. Our big sort of head-turning goal, stretch goal, is to add 10 billion oysters to the Bay by 2025. This began in 2017. We are almost halfway there. In fact, we're updating the metrics at the end of next month, where we know we will eclipse the halfway point. I just want to point out that this is a globally significant progress that we have here. Here in the Bay, groups like Oyster Recovery Partnership will be adding hundreds of millions of oysters, in a month, millions of oysters a day. Where in other waterways across the country, that would be something that they accomplish in a year or more. Another thing that's really interesting about this is the way that we're tracking this. This is not just large-scale restoration, as far as I know, and somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but the way that we're recording this is capturing all the large-scale restoration, small-scale restoration, the contributions of individuals like oyster gardeners, and as well as starting to estimate the sort of accumulation that we're seeing from new practices like living shorelines, and also accumulation from projects like reef balls. So it's everything. And when we talk about 10 billion, that is an astronomical number. If you added 1 oyster every second, it would take you 31.5 years to get to 10 billion. And we're talking about doing this in 7 or 8. So again, globally significant effort happening here in the Bay. And it's, again, every single oyster counts. Trust me, as someone who wants to see this 10 billion goal happen, we're counting every single one of them. So to do that, part of kind of wrapped up in the work that we're doing, we had some very aspirational goals. We are looking at new ways to, again, accelerate the work that's happening, the work that's already proven to be effective in the Bay. This is an example. This is our mobile oyster restoration center in the position right now in the Lynnhaven River. But these are 2 barges that are connected. They're pinned together. They can be separated, and they can be pushed anywhere to have the most effective oyster restoration happening right there. Oysters conditioned in the waters that they're designed to be to live the rest of their long reproductive lives in. Also, if you're ever in Virginia Beach, we welcome you to come visit this. The Brock Environmental Center is CBF's headquarters down in the southern part of the bay. You can see in the back there, and come on down. We'd love to show you around. Also, in terms of innovation, so we host what's called the COA Innovation Awards every year. This is a large pool of money that's distributed among partners, among COA partners, based on a competitive grant process. So this is where we kind of really put our money where our mouth is. To date, we have sponsored over 60 different innovation projects. With more coming in, we're about to submit more or announce more awardees here in the next month or so. So as you can see, there's 3 tracks. It's education, monitoring, and aquaculture. And in many of these projects, in many cases, we'll combine more than one of those goals, sometimes all 3. Partner capacity assistance. So outside of that formal process where we're funding those innovative projects, we have discretionary funding to help partners that want to complete or embellish projects. Let's say there's room for a few more reef balls on a particular permit, or there's a section of a bulkhead that can be that we see over here on the right, these oyster triangles. We're able to fund those projects quickly to help those partners finish their projects, improve them, so that the theory being they can move on to the next one. Again, acceleration. And then I mentioned advocacy at the top of this. When you get all these different kind of partners together and we walk into a legislator's office, it's very compelling. And in some cases, it's very hard to say no. So we a couple of examples here where we bring our oyster growers to the state capitals. You can see the Virginia Capitol in the middle there, and the Maryland General Assembly there on the right. And we go there and we bring the issue to them. We bring the growers to them. We connect them with their representatives, and again, make those connections. And I say it all the time, know your grower. So we like our legislators, especially, to know your grower. I want to point out that we talk about this, 103 partners, that's the core partnership. But there's room at Chesapeake Oyster Alliance for everyone. We have a reef builder network, which recognizes the efforts of businesses that might not be working full-time on the oysters, but are nonetheless contributing to that 10 billion goal and to the sort of the oyster renaissance that's happening around here in the Bay. So for those of you all that are tuning in on Zoom, go to cbf.org/costs and take a look. You can register as a core partner, you can register as a reef builder, or you can be an individual supporter, which will keep you up to date on the work that we're doing. And we will also call on you in times of need for something like an advocacy issue or for an event, something fun like this. And that brings us to the Chesapeake Oyster Science Symposium while we're here today. This is our flagship event. To the folks at home, I'm sorry to let you know that we've been here for 2 days. We had a great time yesterday. The slideshow that you saw at the top of the Zoom was images from a big day yesterday. So we go out, we have field experiences, and we encourage our partners that are attending to step outside. For example, if you're in aquaculture, to take a restoration trip and vice versa. Research is woven throughout the program. But I would say this all the time. One of the things we do, if we do nothing at COH, we bring people together. So it's just wonderful to have all these people come together and to connect with the resource in a beautiful setting. So again, we will be hosting this annually, and if you'd like to know more, you're interested in presenting, you can always contact me. And then I just want to take a minute before it gets too late to thank the people, some individuals and some organizations that have helped pull this together. Chesapeake Bay Foundation funds the Chesapeake Oyster Alliance. Greenfin Studio is here today to put the whole hybrid event on and to make things look and feel smooth and seamless. Blue Oyster Environmental from right here in Cambridge has been absolutely critical in securing our venues and helping to put the pieces together so that we can sort of all descend on this town and get the most out of it. Shore Rivers is here as a local nonprofit water quality organization, also instrumental in making sure that we're on message and on target with the issues that are here local. And the University of Maryland, which is absolutely indispensable in connecting us with great research and other opportunities that we can do right here in Cambridge. And finally, I really would like to thank all of you that are here today and who have tuned in online. Okay, so just a couple of housekeeping items. In lieu of formal introductions, we have prepared a thorough bio sheet that has been sent around in email ad nauseum. Apologies for the many reminder emails. And you will also be in the chat at the top of every panel. So we will dispense with the formalities and just get right into the issues. We encourage everybody we're going to be doing Q&A from Zoom and the audience. So we'll go back and forth and we'll try to answer as many questions as possible, but we will stay on time. We will be running a tight ship. And so we will be starting and stopping at the times indicated on the agenda. And that includes the breaks, so which are between each panel. And again, this is fully hybrid. So we really encourage everybody that's online to participate using the Q&A feature on our Zoom. Okay. I think with that, I'll introduce our first panel. Matt, if you come up here, panel one. So the 4 panels that we have here today, the broad topics are increasing oyster yields. For panel 1. Panel 2 is, now that we've increased those, how are we going to monitor those increases? Number 3 is tech. This is the really, really fun panel where we're looking at sort of some of the science fiction that's coming out of the oyster research these days. And the 4th panel, by tradition, will look into the future. At lunch, we will be treated to a lightning round from researchers presenting from all over the world. I believe we have one researcher presenting from Africa today. I'm not even sure which time zone in Africa, but I understand there's about 8 hours ahead. So with that, I'd like to introduce Matt Pluta, Shore Rivers. Thank you all.